Hello everybody, it's TGF and I'm here for a new video. So you may be asking why a French YouTuber is doing an English intro, and I will explain that right now. I'm doing critics of videos of the American YouTuber DigiBro about Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero, something I really love, and he said so much things, so much thing I'm angry with, and I'm kind of not happy with, and I want to critique them. So I do some videos about it. And since I'm French, because I'm Frenchman, the video will be in French. But that's why I intervene, and I will say that even if you're not French and you don't understand or what I say, I will be doing English subtitles on my critiques, so you will understand why I'm saying the things I'm gonna do and I'm gonna say. Because it's important for people that love Steins Gate Zero and the Science Adventure series to know why I disliked those videos, because it was really a bore to watch, kind of, and it was angrier. You know, I was angry at the time I finished those videos, and I wanted to do a critique about it. It takes a lot of time, and I hope you will like it. If you want to know more, can you comment something, like something? I will be replying to comments about those videos, because that's really interesting to see what debate could be made about those videos, and I hope you will like it. So without further ado, welcome to the video. Bonjour à toutes et bonjour à tous, c'est TGF et nous retrouvons pour la troisième partie de notre recentrage sur les vidéos de DigiBro concernant l'anime Steins Gate Zero. Il considère toujours que c'est une mauvaise suite, et il a parlé dans les deux premières parties de l'histoire et des personnages, mais j'ai essayé d'expliquer en quel point je considère qu'il a tort. Mais on continue notre critique avec la troisième vidéo qui parle justement plus de l'animation, et là aussi il y a pas mal de choses à dire, même si peut-être qu'il y en a moins que dans les deux autres parties, mais ça me paraît important de le faire. Donc on va commencer dès maintenant la vidéo. Vidéo 3. Steins Gate Zero Sucks, Part 3. Ugly, Dumb and Bad. Alors, je vais vous expliquer simplement ce qui va se passer. La vidéo va être diffusée en VOSTFR. Donc elle va être diffusée en entier avec un timecode en haut pour que vous puissiez voir actuellement où vous en êtes dans la vidéo. Et à certains moments, j'arrêterai la vidéo pour expliquer pourquoi je suis en désaccord ou en accord avec lui, et pourquoi justement je veux critiquer ce qu'il a à dire. Et donc, ceci étant dit, on peut commencer la vidéo dès maintenant.
Ask me to name an underappreciated anime director, and I'll tell you about Hiroshi Hamasaki. No one in the anime industry has created more physically brutal, psychologically intense, and tonally difficult to watch imagery than this guy has with his work on the crushingly nihilistic Techno Lies, which I've written about on this channel before, and Shigurui, the graphically disturbing samurai story whose quietly intense first episode bears no shortage of similarity to the start of Steins Gate. It's kind of unclear exactly how much of the directing work was courtesy of Hamasaki and how much was under the purview of co-director Takuya Sato, but considering that the latter is primarily known for cutesy comedy shows, it's probably fair to imagine that the trippy, thickly tonal sections of Steins Gate are more Hamasaki's doing. I know that a lot of people only really like Steins Gate because of the more pulse-pounding and emotionally hardcore second half, but honestly, I've always felt like the first half of the show is stronger in terms of writing and presentation. The animation quality takes a pretty significant dive in the later part of the show, with the phenomenal voice performances often outstripping the visual quality to a kind of jarring degree. Roll clip.
鈴葉橋田鈴さんはそんなことをさせるためにあなたの世話をしたんじゃない。
I wouldn't say this necessarily hurts the show too much, since the tension of the narrative is more of what's carrying it at this point, but those early episodes just feel so carefully plotted to fuck with your head and keep you guessing about what's to come, while buoying your engagement on the sheer strength of the character dialogue. Back when the show first aired, I wrote about the use of subliminal frames throughout the second episode, which I wasn't even sure were intentional, or if they were just some kind of encoding error on the stream, and the fact I even had to wonder that says a lot about the feel of the show at that point. My mental image of Steins Gate includes that washed out white filter that was always covering each scene and causing it to feel like some half-remembered dream, transient in its reality and mysterious in shape. I think of the streets stretching and contracting in Okabe's perception as he struggles to reconcile the deja vu of what he's experiencing, or the dramatic breaks into wholly different animation styles when Mayuri's deaths are so difficult for him to process in the moment that they're happening that it's like reality itself is tearing before his eyes. The soundtrack complemented this tone right down to its legendary opening song, Hacking to the Gate, which captures the entire nature of the show perfectly just in its opening bars. You've got this really hard-nosed, downward spiraling chord progression backed by chaotic technical noises, which slowly struggles to build back up and resolve on a positive note as other instruments pile on top of the core ones. It sounds like what happens in the narrative, and the extremely distinctive vocal performance and earworm melodies combined with trippy headfuck images ensured that this was an all-time great OP that you would never forget. The Steins Gate Zero OP starts with clock noises. You know, because it's a show about time travel. Never mind that no one actually does any time travel until the last third of the series. It's another song from the same artist, but it just kinda sucks in comparison. Didn't stick out in my mind at all, nor seem all that relevant to the series. Not that anything would have necessarily felt more relevant, considering there's not a whole lot going on here.
Tu étais bien parti pourtant. Pourquoi tu n'apprécies pas Fatima en fait? Je sais que c'est différent de Hacking to the Gate, mais quand même, Fatima apporte à l'histoire une nouvelle facette, via ses paroles qui mettent en cause le fait de se faire Dieu pour se rendre compte qu'il n'existe pas.
The music in Steins Gate Zero is actually shockingly bad, often sounding like generic shit you'd expect to hear in some free-to-play 2D browser MMO.
Je crois que tu te trompes. Écoute, Reawake. Écoute, Messenger. Reviens me voir. Les OST sont pour la plupart issus du visual novel, ce qui est le cas pour certaines parts de Steins Gate aussi. Et justement, l'OST de Steins Gate Zero est pour moi une des meilleures que j'ai jamais entendues. Alors dire que ces musiques sont issues d'un putain de truc de navigateur, je ne l'accepte pas. Pas du tout.
Nothing makes you feel like you're drowning in generic anime crap faster than a bouncy, obnoxious comedy track blaring through scenes of characters walking in on one another naked, and I couldn't imagine anything farther from capturing the appeal of Steins Gate. I can honestly say without a shred of apprehension, and as a stalwart proponent of anime fanservice in general, that I never had any desire whatsoever to watch Ferris Nyan Nyan groping Moeka's tits, and I'm almost certain that there are fans of the original show watching this video series without having seen any of Zero who are currently scrambling through their drawers looking for a gun to shoot themselves with.
Alors, effectivement, dans l'anime, c'est plus visuel que dans le VN. Et même si le fanservice est évident, il existe dans tout anime. Ne me fais pas dire le contraire.
If you think that's bad, though, this show also contains one of the single worst excuses to generate a character seeing another naked moment in anime history. At one point, Legal Lolly Girl is fresh out of the shower in the wake of an intense scene, and mentally exclaims how the sudden shift from adrenaline to relaxation has completely shut down all of her muscles, then collapses to the ground in a heap. Of course, this means that someone comes in to rescue her, and apparently she can't even operate her mouth as she shouts internally to stop before whoopsie daisy, Okabe saw you naked. Honestly, this scene brushes so close to self-parody that I'd be tempted to enjoy it if it happened in a show that I didn't already hate.
Après, dans le cas actuel, quelqu'un qui est en état de choc. On s'en fout de son physique. Me dis pas que si tu vois des personnes proches de toi tomber de choc, tu vas pas les aider, quels que soient les vêtements qu'ils portent. Ça paraît logique d'aider quelqu'un, non?
Ugly character redesigns aside, the visual component isn't nearly as awful, but it's just unremarkably bland and average. Shot compositions are flat, color tones are flat, backgrounds are just whatever they need to be, and animation is kept to a minimum. I was actually kind of surprised that they didn't even bother going for some high-energy Sakuga scenes during all the big pointless action set pieces towards the end.
Steins Gate n'est pas censé exploser par ses scènes d'action. C'est plus par l'émotion que ressentent les personnages. Les scènes d'action doivent être cool, effectivement, mais ce n'est pas l'élément le plus important dans Steins Gate. Et ces scènes ne sont pas inutiles au vu de l'histoire qui nous est racontée.
There's a couple of weird moments where they use auto-generated tweens to simulate 48 frames per second animation, but it's transparent that this is what they're doing, and it doesn't even make for impressive looking scenes anyways. On the rare occasion that the show does attempt some kind of visual tone setting, it often comes off bafflingly obtuse instead of legitimately cool. At one point, when Daru is trying to crack into Kurisu's home computer, it suddenly starts getting hacked from an outside source, and so to create a sense of tension in the scene, the monitors all just start emitting a red light out of nowhere, even though when we actually cut to the monitors, it's not even clear where the hell this light is even coming from.
Alors cette scène, c'est en partie à cause du hacking et en partie parce qu'il y a un risque que l'équipe les poursuivants arrive à les retrouver. D'où le départ précipité d'ailleurs. En plus, dans ce bâtiment, on peut voir une dizaine d'écrans. Un seul peut colorer une partie de la pièce.
If you can actually watch this scene without thinking about how cheesy and transparent this is, I gotta say I wish I could be so easily manipulated. Life might be fun. In the original show, the visual tone was sometimes used to call attention to the unreality of the scenario, and to give the feeling of having broken the fourth wall without actually doing it, like when Okarin gives his whole expository speech to the TV in the first episode. It's a cheeky scene and walks a very fine line between being justified narratively or just a stylistic quirk, but the strength of the dialogue manages to sell it as an entertaining moment one way or another. In Steins Gate Zero, the closest thing to this kind of fourth wall tension comes in the form of the characters' chatting app, in which they use Steins Gate emoticons to communicate with one another. In this case, we've just leapt straight over the fourth wall with reckless abandon, and the cynic in me is forced to believe that this was probably done partially to sell the real-life set of Steins Gate chat stickers that does indeed exist. I can admit that I could just as easily imagine accepting this detail in a show that treads this line of believability more carefully, or just entertained me more in general, but here it just immediately caused me to wonder how the fuck it made sense for these stickers to exist in-universe. Hell, all it would have taken for me to like this detail is a throwaway line about how Mayuri drew them herself, but then in that better show they would have actually looked like Mayuri did in fact create the sticker set, and the one sold in real life would also be that sticker set, which I'd then be emotionally attached to. All too often, Steins Gate Zero fetishizes and flanderizes the most unnecessary details about the original story, while adding in bullshit rule of cool sequences that nobody asked for, and insulting the intelligence of an audience who previously made it through a series that felt no need to hold the viewer's hand through every step of its winding narrative. Moeka is apparently a journalist in this universe, but we end up getting her back into the leather spandex to kick some ass because that's an iconic outfit, right? So how could you make a sequel without it? How could you possibly not bring back every single goddamn thing the original show did?
Sais-tu que dans la timeline alpha, ou dans le champ d'attraction alpha, c'est la même chose. Elle est censée travailler en tant que journaliste, mais plus tard, on se rend compte qu'elle fait partie des Rounders. Imagine du coup que c'est la même chose dans la timeline bêta, sauf que, dans le cas précis, c'est Mr. Brown, ou Tenuji, qui demande à M4, Kiryu Moeka, d'aider Okabe dans sa quête, car Okabe, c'est l'identité secrète de FB.
When it's impossible for the audience to just go back and watch the old show whenever the fuck they goddamn feel like it. In the last stretch of episodes, we bear witness to a slog of totally ridiculous, over-the-top action scenes which have nothing to do with the appeal of Steins Gate.
Après, il n'empêche que dans Steins Gate, tu as également des scènes d'action. Elles ne font pas le cœur de l'aventure, mais elles en font partie tout de même. Après, ce sont les émotions derrière qui sont importantes. Je le redis une deuxième fois. J'ai pas envie de le redire une troisième fois, hein?
Right after Suzuha guns down like 30 dudes who have her surrounded when she's got no cover whatsoever, Kagari then shows up and seemingly cuts two guys' heads off at once with fucking karate chops, then Elfen Lied massacres the rest of them. Now look, I'll readily admit that I've got problems with the action scenes in the first show too, like when Kurisu is warping Okabe's memories to the past and there seems to be a hail of bullets just missing them from the other side of the room, but that break-in scene nonetheless managed to emblazon itself on everyone's memories not because of the terrible action choreography, but because of this iconic shot of Suzuha and Moeka contorting themselves into a point-blank Mexican standoff. This shot is memorable because two of the side characters have just revealed themselves to be insanely badass human weapons and matched skills in masterful fashion, buying just enough time for Okabe's escape. In the last episode of Steins Gate Zero, Suzuha and Kagari find themselves in a similar Mexican standoff, but it's just two girls pointing guns at one another, and one of them is the shittiest character in the entire canon, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Encore avec la Kagari Hate. Sérieux, mec? Kagari est le pire personnage du canon? Non, c'est techniquement Julie Ries dans le visual novel. Kagari est vraiment intéressante, si tu t'es vraiment intéressé à son histoire, ce que j'en doute. Ce face-à-face a du sens, car Kagari n'est pas celle que nous avons vue au début de l'aventure à cause de la diffusion de la flûte enchantée.
I'm honestly kind of shocked that they didn't just make this moment a blatant trace over of the iconic shot from the original, since even that show couldn't resist using it multiple times. But if their intention was to exercise restraint, then all they managed to do was turn an exciting moment into a boring one.
Donc, un moment où tu vois deux personnes qui ont voyagé ensemble, qui ont vécu des aventures différentes, qui sont en opposition, s'affronter en face à face et voir que Mayuri est prête à se sacrifier pour éviter une mort certaine, tu trouves ça ennuyeux? Ennuyeux, sérieusement?
Even the stupid goddamn time leap machine has been brainlessly canonized in the sequel, like it was such an iconic piece of technology that it couldn't possibly be replaced.
Quand tu sais que la machine temporelle s'est faite détruire par une roquette et que Daru et Mao travaillaient déjà dessus pour que Okabe revienne à ses esprits, il est normal qu'un Okabe brisé donne les clés pour la reconstruire, non? Ah bon?
Both in an episode where Okabe travels back to the Alpha timeline where Mayuri died and Kurisu lived, and back in the Beta timeline after Maho discovers the secrets of Kurisu's research, another phone microwave is built in the same place in Okabe's lab, continuing to rely on Mr. Brown's large CRT for power. Why the hell wouldn't they simply replicate the conditions of this experiment somewhere else is completely baffling, especially in the latter case where Maho and Daru are trying to keep its construction a secret from Okabe.
Parce que il n'avait pas d'autre endroit? Au hasard? Je rappelle que la majorité des découvertes scientifiques ont été faites au hasard, selon le principe de sérempédité. C'est-à-dire que c'est cette combinaison, un micro-ondes modifié en corrélation avec la télé à tube cathodique, qui a permis de créer la machine à bond temporel. Sérempédité est la réponse à ta question. Et pour l'histoire d'Okabe, ils se sont dit qu'ils n'allaient pas visiter, sauf s'il était demandé. C'est d'ailleurs après une discussion avec Mayuri qu'il se dirige vers le labo. Donc,
The only reason the phone microwave was important in the original show is that it was the only machine of its kind. Kurisu was trying to understand how it worked and to improve on it, and there was no way of building another one to resolve this situation while Okabe was busy bouncing around the timeline. Assumably, it isn't even necessary for a time leap device to be constructed using these components, and it certainly would be a lot easier to operate without relying on Mr. Brown happening to leave the CRT running, but then it wouldn't be in the place where it needed to be for the sake of this particular plot if it didn't happen to be there. It gets even worse when Okabe goes to the year 2035 and the new model of the time leap machine that they've constructed to go 2 weeks into the past as opposed to 48 hours is still built out of the same goddamn components, like no one figured out any way of innovating on this design whatsoever in decades.
parce que c'est une résistance, elle est censée être cachée du monde. Une résistance qui va droit au but, elle fonctionne rarement. C'est pour ça que la Time Leap Machine ressemble à son ancienne version, mais ils ont pu améliorer au fil du temps.
Steins Gate Zero is so determined to have the cake of the original show's characters and to eat it too that it tramples on the very things which made that show so emotionally gripping. One of my favorite realizations on Okabe's part is just how brief and fleeting the period of time when everyone was enjoying themselves together at the lab truly was, and how the value of that time spent couldn't really be understood until it had been taken away. When you look back at the series, the first few episodes are largely stark and distant, with characters often operating alone or in pairs, and rarely having more than 3 people in the lab at a time. Every time a new cross-section of characters meets each other, it's a significant moment, as the matrix of these weirdos' human interactions grows more complex, and the atmosphere of the lab lightens up. Then, not long after the precise moment when it feels like we're approaching a warm group of anime pals, it's all irreparably stripped away and needs to be fought for endlessly. Even at the very end of the series, the bittersweetness is preserved. Sure, it's suggested that everyone could plausibly become friends again, but we don't even start down the road of Okabe's reintroduction to Makise Kurisu unless you watch the silly-ass fanservice OVA.
Alors, de toute manière, comme je te l'ai déjà expliqué, Faris connaît Mayuri et Daru à cause du Meikui Nyan Nyan. Quant à Lukako, on peut supposer qu'il connaît toujours Okabe. Concernant Kurisu, il est clairement montré qu'elle sait qu'Okabe lui a sauvé la vie, et elle se rappelle de se faire appeler Christina, donc elle n'a pas tout oublié. Donc on pouvait le deviner via ça, l'OAV nous donnant juste une confirmation.
In Steins Gate Zero, the characters are constantly up one another's asses like they've got nothing better to do, even though we'd left them at a point when most of them had never even met. Moeka gets reintroduced to the series as a totally unrelated journalist.
Moeka suit l'histoire concernant Mao. Cette dernière lui a parlé d'Okabe du coup.
And then it's just kind of osmosed into the cast hangouts because why not? Ferris, who just seemed to be Mayuri's work buddy and casual acquaintance before, is now a permanent fixture, with Rukako not far behind. Considering that in this timeline, Ocarina apparently hasn't even been to the lab in the time since giving up on his mission, and that the only people who ever would have stepped foot in there at this point in the timeline would have been him, Mayuri, Daru, and maybe Rukako, the idea that everyone would just gravitate there as some kind of party spot is completely asinine. Who is even paying the rent on this place at this point, and why?
La réponse est Faris, car elle voulait garder ses amis proches d'elle. Il ne faut pas sous-estimer la puissance de la famille Akia.
How come Mr. Brown is okay with all these people making a ruckus in this room all of a sudden? It's like the series just takes for granted that because we as viewers are used to the idea that the lab was a hangout spot for the characters in the original series, we aren't going to notice that it doesn't make any sense for it to still be that way. Since the show itself is so obsessed with giving us these characters, let's take a moment to talk about each of them and what they contribute to the series. Just like in the original, Ferris Nyan and Rukako are largely vestigial characters needed to thicken the cast out and provide some side plots, ultimately feeling like more of a holdover from the game's multipath visual novel roots, which cause what in my opinion are by far the two weakest episodes in the original series when we have to watch the resolutions of their stories.
Ce ne sont pas des routes, mais des chapitres du visual novel. Les routes, c'est seulement si on ne choisit pas de envoyer le email. En plus, ce sont clairement 2 épisodes que j'ai dans mon cœur, car les pleurs de Rukako pendant son épisode m'ont rendu triste, et le sacrifice que fait Faris en tuant son père est affreusement touchant. J'ai l'impression qu'on n'a pas la même manière de voir Steins Gate.
Suzuha is fun to watch because she's a badass, but her place in the story is largely inert since she's just waiting for Okabe to man up and come to the pass with her, and otherwise is trying to ensure the self-fulfilling prophecy of her own existence by encouraging Daru to fuck her future mom.
Après, c'est justement parce qu'elle n'arrive pas à motiver Okabe qu'elle part seule en se disant qu'elle peut changer la timeline bien avant. Mais c'est à ce moment-là que Mayuri vient la rejoindre pour expliquer qu'elle souhaite remettre de la lumière à son Altaïr.
Half of her dialogue is just mistakenly referring to characters by way of her future understanding of them and then correcting herself, which is obnoxious and not funny. Whereas the original series portrayed Moeka as a deeply suspicious and emotionally damaged woman who refused to even attempt communication via speech as opposed to text, now she's just a woman of few words, but seemingly has no difficulty in social situations or with new people.
Non, car elle utilise toujours le téléphone comme son principal moyen de communication. Ce qui permet certains moments drôles d'ailleurs dans certaines scènes.
Her texting gimmick is upheld in spite of the fact that she does talk to people now, and as stated earlier, it's completely unclear whether she's still around her in this universe or just works for Ferris Nyan now for no particular reason. Maybe this is explained further in the visual novel, as I'm sure a lot of things are, but I don't give a shit because all of this is just stupid in concept!
Oui, c'est expliqué un peu mieux dans le visual novel, mais tu devrais t'en rendre compte car le CERN existe toujours, donc les renders existent toujours. Moeka est toujours un render sous les ordres de FB. Sauf que elle n'a aucune information sur un Nebian 5100, on lui a demandé d'être plus en retrait.
So then we've got the new characters, if you're willing to call them that. We've already established Yuki, who accomplishes literally nothing and only exists to misdirect us about the identity of the leather-clad assassin woman.
Alors, effectivement, Yuki a un rôle moins important que dans le visual novel, où on se rend compte qu'elle est bien la personne derrière le masque. Je ne sais pas trop pourquoi ils ont fait le changement, mais ça me dérange pas.
But she's not half as starkly forgettable as Mayuri's other pair of friends who don't seem to exist for any discernible reason other than to cram even more faces into every centimeter of screen space during the group scenes. According to the Steins Gate wiki, one of them is just a plot device whom Ocarine finds out has the reading Steiner, so he explains it to her, and then the bad guy brainwashes her to get that information for himself.
Concernant Fubuki et Kaede, effectivement, on ne les voit pas beaucoup, mais elles ont plus de présence dans le visual novel, car il se trouve que Fubuki est atteint d'une encéphalite, dont on voit d'ailleurs des prémices dans certains écrans de télévision. En gros, si je résume simplement, Fubuki tombe dans les pommes en même temps qu'Okabe, et on se rend compte qu'elle a vécu la même chose qu'Okabe, même si c'est moins puissant. Elle a une version atténuée du Reading Steiner. Après, dans l'animé, c'est vrai que ce point est rapidement passé, mais c'est parce que nous n'avons pas vu la scène se déroulant sur une autre ligne de temps. Dans le visual novel, il y a une scène où justement Okabe se retrouve en pleine guerre entre les États-Unis et l'Union soviétique. Eh oui, elle existait à l'époque.
I remember a scene suggesting that this girl had that power, but if it actually led to anything in the show, then I must have forgot, because I do not recall these two mattering in any way. Kagari, meanwhile, is just plain ass. When she's introduced, she has no personality to speak of because of amnesia. When she finally regains her memories, she seems to still be trapped in the mindset of a 10-year-old girl whose entire personality is just an obsessive love for her adoptive mother Mayuri and literally nothing else.
Imagine que tu rencontres ta maman que tu n'as pas vue depuis au moins 13 ans et que tu te rends compte que tu as perdu beaucoup de choses dans ce chemin. Pour Kagari, le fait qu'elle soit toujours une enfant en partie montre qu'elle a été sûrement déjà sous emprise mentale de Leskinen. Et même l'épisode autour de la chanson de Mayuri et Kagari le prouve, car peu après que Kagari l'ait appris à Okabe, on sait qu'elle a été repérée par l'équipe de Leskinen.
After we find out she's actually a sleeper agent for the bad guy, it turns out she's also a ludicrously overpowered super assassin, but her personality is still just that she's obsessed with protecting her mommy.
3 mots. La flûte enchantée. Il y a eu un nettoyage de cerveau, ce qui fait qu'elle devient une machine à tuer, et une voix de Dieu lui dit quoi faire.
When Okabe convinces her that she'll have better odds of doing that by coming to his side, she effortlessly breaks the conditioning and helps him to save the day, and that's her entire character arc. Shit. We already talked about the craptastic supervillain and his assistant who exists solely to get brained in the final action scene, so the only one left to talk about is the closest thing the series has to an actual new character, Maho. This girl is introduced as a pretty standard bratty tsundere pseudo-lolly, and her entire emotional development is based around torturing this metaphor that she considers herself the Salieri to Kurisu's Mozart, and named her program Amadeus because of it. Half of the shit that comes out of her mouth is just whinging about how smart Kurisu is and how she'll always just be a Salieri by comparison. Fucking yawn.
Non, justement, tu te trompes. C'est à cause de cette relation entre Makise Kurisu et Maro Hiraro que tu ressens la tristesse de Mao qui a du mal à se comparer au génie de Kurisu. Cette analogie entre Amadeus Mozart et Salieri est logique car Mozart était le génie, Salieri était son rival. C'est encore mieux expliqué dans le visual novel d'ailleurs.
This character is almost endearing just because she's actually relevant to the closest moments this show has to a plot, and is related to Kurisu in some fashion, and I'd even say that the closest thing that this show has to a good idea is giving Okabe someone that he can talk about Kurisu with who actually knows who she is. But around the 10th time she brought up that goddamn Mozart metaphor, I officially consigned her to the garbage bin of my brain. Speaking of Mozart, I guess I have to address the Amadeus thing too, don't I? So, Makise Kurisu's memories and personality have been stored inside of an AI that lives on a server somewhere and inhabits a black void of space, I guess. According to herself and her creators, she is nothing more than a program, just an AI, so you don't have to think about it too much, okay? You don't have to ask any questions about the ethics of her existence because she's just a computer program. It doesn't matter if she provably exhibits emotions, personality, and reactions indistinguishable from those of Makise Kurisu because she's just a program, okay? I know, I get it. You really love that legendary Star Trek Next Generation episode where Picard gives the big speech about how synthetic life deserves equal rights and considerations to organic life, and I know you loved the Geth subplot in Mass Effect, and I know you think about the moral quandaries of AI literally every day, but put that all out of your mind because it's just a program, you know?
Il est clairement dit qu'Amadeus a les souvenirs de Kurisu et donc elle peut réagir comme elle. Quel est ton problème là-dedans?
It can be shut off at the press of a button, and that means it's not real! By the way, this technology totally exists in 2011. That's not even slightly implausible. So, okay. I've got so many fucking questions about this stupid thing. Like, we are unambiguously informed that this program's mind is functionally indistinguishable from Makise Kurisu, yet we are also constantly reassured that you should not think of it as a person or grow too attached to it because it's just a computer program.
Oui, car la réelle Kurisu est morte. Amadeus peut ressembler à Kurisu, mais ça ne veut pas dire qu'elle l'est. Loin de là.
At one point, we are outright told that the professor is hoping for the program to develop feelings of love for Okabe to prove just how indistinguishable it is from the real deal. Yet no matter how attached this clearly damaged man gets to the program that in no way fails to perfectly encapsulate everything about a woman whom he loved and has been obsessed with the death of for 6 months, Maho just keeps telling him, "Don't get attached, bro," and then allowing him to continue carrying it around in his pocket and to talk to it constantly because it's just an experiment, dog! Just stop, please. This fucking hurts to think about. My brain is not meant to contort at these angles. I can't stop it. I'm going to overflow!
Tu t'énerves à cause d'un problème informatique? Sérieusement? Je devrais m'énerver alors à chaque fois que Adobe Premiere Pro décide de planter après 1 heure de montage. Enfin, voilà quoi. Et c'est justement cette relation avec Amadeus qui fait poser des questions à Okabe sur sa relation avec la mort de Kurisu. Il sait que ce n'est pas la vraie, mais vu qu'elle réagit comme la Kurisu réelle, il se pose des questions sur le choix qu'il a fait. C'est d'ailleurs pour ça que dans l'épisode 22, Amadeus Kurisu se sacrifie pour pouvoir faire en sorte que Mayuri et Suzuha partent dans la machine temporelle, restaurant du coup la continuité de Steins Gate.
Literally, in what way is this program not just actually Makise Kurisu, and what in the fuck is she doing in there? Does she just literally live inside of a blackened void? I mean, does she actually inhabit a 3D model with a map of her brain, or is that an on-screen representation of the computer's emotions?
C'est une représentation selon des images de la personne réelle, d'où on les voit avec des blouses boutonnées. Je sais que dans la timeline alpha, Makise Kurisu est toujours habillée avec son costume d'une école très particulière. Mais justement, dans la timeline bêta, on l'a jamais vue en dehors de la première scène du premier épisode.
How can one think like a human without being shaped like one? Does she have a perception of a physical self?
Oui, dans l'épisode 22, on parle du fait que la réelle Kurisu est morte et qu'il faut la supprimer. Sa dernière scène montre qu'elle a peur, mais elle se sacrifie pour que la mission soit menée à bien.
Also, if she has access to the internet and all the files and shit at the university, does she just know everything?
Elle utilise Internet que de manière espacée, comme dans les posts qu'elle fait dans A-Channel.
Apparently, in one of the visual novel routes, her brain is just implanted into Kagari, overriding Kagari's personality, which in a very cynical way explains why Kagari looks like her, but if they weren't going to do that in the show, then why even bother including that bitch?
Parce qu'il n'y a pas que ça qui la caractérise, mon cher Digibro. Ah, cette haine de Kagari quand même.
One of the low-key worst scenes in the series comes when the Amadeus system is getting ready to make the same heroic sacrifice as the original Kurisu by allowing herself to be destroyed in order to prevent the post-apocalyptic future. And as Okabe shows her around Tokyo, she does this whole monologue about the difference between the chaotic world of humans and the world she inhabits, which is all very orderly and logical. And I'm just over here like, motherfucker, she literally has all of Makise Kurisu's memories. The human world is the world she comes from. Ah!
Ses souvenirs sont ceux de Kurisu, mais les AI, elle, l'intelligence artificielle, est un programme, donc on peut considérer que c'est un mélange des deux.
How did they get away with this? How did this not cause a riot in the streets somewhere other than the back of my mind? Seriously, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty much mentally checked out on this show the second the Amadeus system was introduced because the whole thing is so ill-conceived and raises such a wealth of unnecessary questions which the show isn't interested in answering that I couldn't possibly take it seriously. I long for the days when the hilariously fantastical phone microwave still nonetheless had comprehensive bullshit scientific explanations to justify it and was still limited to the incredibly benign power of just sending someone's memories 48 hours into the past. As soon as you hit me with 2011 fully human AI tech to revive the show's most popular character so she can live in Okabe's fucking pocket and tell me not to question it, your show is going straight in the garbage.
Il faut laisser du mystère autour d'Amadeus. C'est d'ailleurs pour ça que l'alerte donnée par Amadeus dans A-Channel a surpris un peu tout le monde. C'est pourquoi on est attaché à elle. C'est pourquoi on comprend pourquoi Okabe souhaite en savoir plus. Pourrais-tu m'expliquer en quoi Sword Art Online est toujours aussi intéressant?
But that still isn't the actual worst thing that happens in Steins Gate Zero. No, my friends, now that we've made our way to all the major talking points about the broad strokes of this sequel's ineptitude, it's time that we finally funnel into the gooey center and laugh hysterically at how completely broken and retarded it gets when it actually tries to have a plot. Next time on Steins Gate Ball Z!
Et oui, comme je m'en doutais, nous allons faire 4 parties sur les vidéos de Digibro. Nous avons terminé la troisième partie avec la fin de cette vidéo. Car oui, elle commence à être longue, ça fait plus de 35 minutes et on va pas trop presser le temps. Mais en tout cas, j'espère que cette vidéo vous aura plu. On se retrouve bientôt pour la suite et la fin de notre review sur les reviews de l'anime Steins Gate Zero par Digibro. Et on se retrouve bientôt pour de nouvelles aventures. C'était Jeff, stay tuned for more. For the rest of me, et à la prochaine les gens.
「確かなもの命の